that is, that's
Okay.
suggesting that this Kalista is going to be going towards the top side.
Could also be Varus mid. I don't know if Deikara plays it. We saw Core Dynamic pull it off. I don't think Deikara has any sort of similar playstyle to Core Dynamic, so most likely not. But that actually leaves Sparx with a lot of flexible options for the rest of this draft. As Black Lion, that is a Poppy Hover, and they do lock it in. Of course, we still need the confirmation of what the second pick is, so that we can try and make sense of what Black Lion are going for. It is Tam Kench. Okay, so that's definitely Fasting Senna.
Yeah, it's definitely the the typical support Senna, which has come back. It's changed how she's been played a lot because she was typically the AD carry, was looking to just farm up and just had so much damage stacking up with the souls. Now she does have to play in that more standard supportive position to get any of those souls and really try and find any sort of exposure. Pairing her up with someone that can keep her safe in the laning phase, like the Tam Kench, is a fantastic way to ensure that she does get into a nice position and can go ahead. Poppy is another interesting choice, and I'm expecting this perhaps to go towards the jungle. We have seen a few players pick this up and try and take it in there. It's a fantastic counter to the likes of the Kalista, who is reliant so much on that movement, hopping about all the time. Poppy with a steadfast presence can just completely interrupt that and really cause this AD carry some problems. Yeah, I was gonna say, I believe we might be able to.
How long did you not hear me for? Anyways, doesn't matter.
It's fine. You're good. You're good.
Yeah. So, well, doesn't matter what I was saying before. Now, Talia is going to be locked in for Black Lion. I'm trying to think. Is that more likely to be mid or jungle?
It really depends where they want to put this Poppy, because, I mean, if Black Lion are looking to play this Poppy in the top lane on Apostus, who is a new substitute in for them. We don't know an awful lot about this guy. We don't know his kind of play style and what he looks towards. He could very well be looking to take this tank up there to try and, have that front to back team fight, have that stacking front line that's going to build up really nice and tanky. Meaning it would still allow Talia into the jungle or potentially mid lane. We're seeing a lot of not what we would have expected from these teams, I think it's fair to say. Sparx have picked up the Morgana and the Scion. I'm assuming it's going to be a Morgana Kalista, Morgana Varus bot lane?
I think Morgana Kalista is more like. Although, that actually depends, because you could put Scion mid lane and put Kalista in top. That is viable. This is
the thing where I'm wanting to see where these champions are going to end up going, because there's a lot of flexibility and a lot of it is fairly unorthodox. Like, we know that the Elise is in the jungle. We're pretty sure that the Morgana is going to be support for the side of Sparx, and if that's going to be the end of a switching round, that is going to be all of the hovering is over and done with. I think that's kind of what we were both expecting. Maybe just the Varus and the Kalista switch round for Sparx. I think the rest that's kind of what we were going with.
Yeah, it more or less is. Something though that is interesting is how Fnac is now being put on a tank. Like throughout the regular season, Fnac was mostly being played around as a strong side top laner, apart from the last few weeks. That is where he started to play tanks. And personally, I think Sparx looked better when Fnac wasn't something that can carry through the mid game. But as I said, if that's something they practice and that's something that they feel comfortable with, then I'm excited to see that, because they carry on the Kalista. Like, that guy doesn't really tend to carry so much through the laning.
No, it definitely doesn't. If we look across the Black Lion, they're also trying some different things themselves. Sena isn't on an AP marksman, an AP carry like we have traditionally seen her on. Instead, it's going to be the Senna, so it does provide that stable long range ability to provide damage. It provides that scaling that Black Lion kind of need. They've got a Talia in the jungle, something we haven't seen an awful lot of for a long while. Evil Yokai still on a very aggressive mid laner. His Pantheon is going to be wanting to get onto Daikara's face, wanting to try and find some kills early. And Apostus, like we said, this unknown quantity, he's going to be bringing in the tank to the top side as well. So both of the teams are going to be having this, this big, beefy matchup in this top side, so we can actually have this scaling option to allow these kind of front-to-back team fights later on.
Oh yeah, definitely. Something that I also do want to touch on is Cyrox Evil Yokai. That duo has been responsible for many of the Black Lion wins. There weren't that many, let's be honest. They do come into the playoffs with only 5 wins. I have to say this, they aren't
Ouch.
necessarily looking like the favorites. But when Black Lion won, it was Gragas Yasuo, usually in
Yeah.
the mid lane snowballing. Tilia Pantheon, another great combo. Like you can play it bot and you can just snowball hard. Now when you play it mid lane, they currently only has one cleanse and one flash. You
Yeah,
know,
and Callista is very, very squishy, you know? Although she's hopping around all the time with her standard auto attack, she doesn't have a dash or a blink. So if you get one good gank rotation, you get the flash, you get the cleanse, you've got no reason to not immediately revisit that and try and get the same out again. Because sooner or later, you will find Daikara out of position, trying to push a little bit too far forward, and you will be able to punish it. This is one of the areas where we did kind of think that Black Lion had the edge coming into this matchup. Of all of the members on the Sparx Esports roster, Daikara has one that has perhaps underperformed slightly. You know, he's struggled a little bit in some of these matchups against some of our other teams. And although Evil Yokai is not the most consistent, I think it's fair to say, he certainly has extremely high highs, and he will definitely be looking to try and find those early leads and snowball the team through to a win on this Pantheon.
definitely. Something else that I think, just pointing it out before we go off to the game, I don't know how we didn't mention that, but Sparx are playing with a substitute that was declared, I think, yesterday. Guarding you playing support instead of lonely. So we don't really know how he's playing. Pretty much an unknown quantity. Morgana, one of the champions that he's playing a bit in solo queue. So that would have been to be expected. And I wonder if it will really present any major changes to how Sparx will play. Because in the past, Desrim and Lonely were more of a passive bot lane. Like, just farm for 10 minutes. If enemy does something wrong, then yes, punish them. But they weren't really going out of their way to force those mistakes to happen. And if that's a positive change in favor of Sparx, it could give them even bigger of an edge than we expected before coming into this match.
Yeah, because it's definitely fair to say that both of the teams are trying to switch things up a little bit. These are very different rosters to what we've kind of seen before from them. And we don't really know an awful lot about these new substitutes. The top laner, Apostas, for the side of Black Lion, guarding you, the support for Sparx. We'll have to see what they can actually bring to the team and whether these will kind of change the different dynamic that the team is looking to play around. We've already mentioned a lot of the time for Black Lion is through this jungle mid combination that gets rolling and snowballs the game from there. For the side of Sparx, it's the scaling option with top used as a bridging factor. So whether these strategies are going to have changed and evolved in the past 2 weeks when we haven't been watching these teams is definitely worth noting because they've had a decent amount of time to practice.
Definitely, and just touching on Sparx, their strategy has definitely changed just from the draft because Finnick is no longer the bridging option into the mid game. He's just your sort of like safety valve. If everything goes wrong, at least you have Cyan, at least you have some frontline that scales. And, you know, playing into the Poppy, top lane should be more or less a no matchup. As sad as that is, with the top laner like Finnick, top lane probably won't matter that much this game. Like, my eyes are on mid lane and on bot lane, because you need to get ahead if you're Black Lion in the mid lane, for sure. You're playing Pantheon Tilia. You gotta get some kills there. The Kara has got the cleanse, and with the help of Antero, they could just completely block Black Lion from any attempts to get any sort of ganks.
Yeah, and I think the real concern for me in terms of Black Lion goes off the back of what you just said, Kashka. If they don't find any advantages, or any substantial advantages, I should say, in this mid lane, in this jungle role, I'm concerned where the damage is going to come from in these later fights, because the only real damage threats they have are the Pantheon, who we know falls off incredibly hard the longer the game goes on. He becomes incredibly difficult to execute on. But Talia does a huge amount of burst damage, but again, not the most consistent in long fights. And then you're looking at the Senna, who it's the same kind of thing. You know, she does do a lot of damage. She does pack a massive punch. But if you're talking about consistent, reliable damage that you would typically look for in a team fight or in a front-to-back 5 versus 5, I think that is an area where Black Lion are lacking.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with you. Something just to bring up is that they have thrown some leads in the past. It was against teams like Absolved and NSG, so kudos to them for getting a lead. And they weren't necessarily able to close it off. So that is another area for improvement that we're really looking at. And these quarterfinals overall, both today and tomorrow, for the teams that are playing in them, is a really good opportunity for them to show that actually we improved from the regular season, and the winning team going on to the semifinals will hopefully have something going for themselves against either NSG or Absolved, who are looking pretty formidable.
Yeah, because when we did see Black Lion versus Absolved, when they were playing the more standard composition that they've gone for of the Yasuo, of the Ziggs in this bot lane, they were doing so well. It looked like the game was completely theirs. There was no chance for Absolved to engage with the game because they were just rotating Sane around, getting tower after tower after tower, really pressing home their advantage against Absolved. And I think it was one fight around 19 minutes. They overcommitted onto one member of Absolved, used all of their ultimates, and then had nothing for the following siege and the following fight that came afterwards. And honestly, to me, casting that game and thinking back on it, it kind of just looked like the closest definition you can get to a reverse sweep within a single game, because it was so one-sided up until that point. And after then, Blackline didn't have a single thing that went their way. So closing out games, being able to maintain leads, and being able to control a game once you have that pace advantage, once you have that gold advantage, I think is something this team needed to work on. And I'm really hoping they will have done that, because if they can, these are going to be a scary roster to try and contend with, especially if they've been practicing a few extra strategies as well.
All right, we are gonna jump straight into the match. Summoners with game 1 of this best of 3. Something that Sparx have done consistently is trying to ward the enemy buff at 50 seconds. Will they do it again? I guess we'll have to see.
I mean, you're getting towards that clock. You can see the Elise going forward, but I think Talia will have been spotted there. So we're going to potentially drop the ward over back of the Baron Pit instead. And so far, it just looks like a fairly standard line of scrimmage. A little bit of trading here. Sena will get 1 or 2 stacks at the start of a game. You know, they all add up. So if you are able to find them here, it is going to... You know, it's not going to make a massive difference. It's not like you get a first blood kill or something at this stage. You go into lane with an item advantage. But, you know, it's these little advantages that you do have to try and build up to be able to snowball from there.
Right, and we did see Antero place that ward, not necessarily on the buff, but hopefully will give him some information about where Cyrox starts. Cyrox, though, moving down towards the bot lane. However, what's more important, Apostas and Evil Yokai are swapping around.
It does look like that indeed. It seems they've really intended to draft this Poppy just to bully the Kalista around. They want to make the Kalista's life as difficult as possible, because Kalista isn't really going to have any sort of early damage to be able to pressure the Poppy, and Poppy typically does have a bit of a weak early laning phase. You know, she struggles to CS compared to a lot of other top laners. She's not the best at clearing out early on. So trying to give her that advantageous matchup where the Kalista can't really do a lot to her is definitely going to favour Apostas and give him a bit of a smoother laning phase. I do worry though, because I thought the Pantheon was going to be a nice opportunity to really punish this Kalista, because, you know, she is so squishy. You're not going to quite have that same opportunity against the Sion.
Yeah, definitely not, and they are actually using the full advantage that the early range lead gives him to punish Apostas a bit, get himself some CS. A bit of poke down always helps. Level 2 is going to be hit first by the Sparx bot lane, and I wonder what they will do with that. They will just do the standard thing, which is push in the lane that is losing out to you and hope that they make a mistake. And you can see Sena not having too much fun.
Taking a lot of chip damage. Vivaris is able to poke her down very easily, and although it's a very safe lane with the Senna Tarm Kench, you do still have to be mindful of getting rooted. The Morgana can do a lot of damage, but we're seeing a gank on the top lane. Cyrox and Yokai.
Cyrox and Yokai both up there. Fennec is gonna put the Decimating Smash down, but it doesn't look too good for him, and First Blood picked up by Evil Yokai.
They might not be... Oh, he might get it back here now. He's not going to have quite enough steam to catch up to Evil Yokai. I was saying he might not be in the mid lane, but they're still playing around this mid 2v2 duo. Now Antero's in bot side, but bullying him on the tower.
Yeah, Sparx definitely going to be looking to get something done here. That's teleport from Apostles coming in through, and they managed to save the tower dive, which looked imminent from Sparx. Sparx now, they have to sort of get out, as Sparx will be looking to cut them out. Doesn't actually go for it since it's a bit suicide going in 1v3.
Yeah, and he was spotted on the Scryer's Bloom as well, so they knew full well that Sparx was waiting there. It would just have been straight up win trading there. Good job by Evil Yokai to block a lot of the damage coming through there. And, you know, I was saying how I was a little bit concerned that Evil Yokai would struggle to find any early leads against the Scion. Once again, with Cyrox's intervention, this is the situation Black Lion find themselves in. He has got a kill advantage, and while he's dipping down in CS a little bit, they're not really falling behind anywhere else, and Cyrox is once again looking to make a play.
Yeah, he's behind the bot lane. Desmond flashes out immediately, guarding you. Has to burn the flash as well. Flash through throw, follow from low. He wants to get a kill, and Sena is going to be donated the second kill for Black Lion.
So far, Cyrox has made 2 ganks. Both of them have been impactful. The top and bot are now in winning positions, and the kills went on to the people they needed to. The Senna and the Pantheon did manage to pick them up. This is going to be shoved under now, potentially looking to siege down at a tower play, because Talia, of course, can auto-attack onto it as well. But no, they're just going to push it in and back away. They decide not to try and push for luck there. Very good start to the game from Black Lion. They've got a bit of an early advantage, but if you look in the mid lane, Daikara is pulling really far ahead in CS over this Poppy.
It definitely is. 37 to 25. You gotta feel good, especially that he hasn't recalled yet. When he's gonna go back, I don't know exactly what the first item is on Kalista. I am going to admit, not a big Kalista player. But it is going to be very influential almost no matter what he goes for, as Ocean Dragon now picked up by Sparx. So well, in a few seconds.
Let's put it like this. I'd be surprised if he didn't go for a Blade of a Ruin King.
Okay.
Like, into a Poppy, into a Tarm Kench. It kind of gives Kalista everything she needs. Attack damage, attack speed, bit of lifesteal. Oh, good fight here.
Apostles maybe out of position, and Terra has to go out. Is able to use that repel to get himself out to safety. Daikara still has both the sums. He's gonna use the flash. Hits level 6. Evil Yokai is on the chase, but unable to pursue. And Black Lion, they don't get anything. Sparx pick up the Ocean Drake.
Every single member of Sparx is now flashless though. Daikara had to use it to escape over that wall. He just managed to buffer the Pantheon stun. Good play there by him. And Terra again had to flash out in the river to escape. So Black Lion, they're putting a massive amount of pressure in every single lane. And while it's only resulted in 2 kills so far, and while there are CS advantage over to the side of Sparx, Cyrox is going to be playing mind games with them, because every single time Sparx have tried to do anything so far, he's been there to make a mess of it.
Oh yeah, he has in the past. And one thing that as well comes back to my mind is that Black Lion are a team that sort of never stops fighting. They will always keep looking for those picks and fights, which is the reason why they have the 2 kills right now. And I want to really see them keep going with that. You've got the Talia. Cyrox is doing fairly well, level 5, soon to be level 6. Evil Yokai is level 6. And you have quite a lot of a lockdown available on your team, so that when you find someone that is out of position from Sparx, you can just burst them down and grow your lead.
Yeah, you certainly can. And with champions like the Pantheon and Matilia, you definitely want to be fighting early as much as you possibly can. Antero caught out here.
Yeah, that's what I talked about. Repel up. Cyrox out of mana, however, Antero, you have to go back down at some point. Evil Yokai not actually committing, as Daikara is going to be moving out. Blast Cone away. Black Lion aboard the play.
And I think that was very respectful of Black Lions, perhaps showing a bit too much respect to Sparx there. I think they could have potentially pushed that and found the kill, but they decided, rightly so, they didn't have full information on where all of Sparx's laners were. They could see that Daikara was moving out of mid lane to come and support, so they decide to back away. Antero had enough time bought by going up using the repel, but it just threatened that he might get some support. Black Lions instead, they will back away, they won't get anything for that play, but I think it's showing a bit more restraint that is going to put them in a good position to maintain these leads that we said they had been a bit gung-ho in potentially throwing away in some of their previous games.
It's 8 minutes. Sparx initiate a lane swap, putting up Desertman, guarding you up into the top lane. You have to believe they're going to be looking for that Herald.
It's the classic play. We see it in pretty much every single game. One team wants to rotate up first. They want to try and contest the Herald because it allows you to get a lot of turret plating down and potentially even first tower if you have things prepped. Sparx goes down in the river here.
Sparx decides to face Dekara, just shreds him through, and Carol playing that at least early game damage is just a bit too much.
Getting a kill into the pocket of Daikara is definitely going to be good. You can see already both Varus and Kalista have picked up the first bit of lifesteal there. Likely both of these champions are going to be building towards the Blade of the Ruined King to start with, but Sena and Law down here, they can just poke away as much as they want. Finnick, he's gonna struggle to try and trade back. He does have the ultimate if he really wanted to, but of course, Tom has the Devour available all times. He can just pick Sena up, keep her nice and safe, but you can see the tower is being prepped up here. Rift Herald is being summoned. This is going to be first tower build on the top side for Sparx.
Definitely going to be the tower going down, and Sena and Law, they just don't have enough damage to stop Finnick from defending the tower. Sparx pick up that first brick in the top lane, 9.5 minutes in. So despite the fact that Black Lion keep finding those picks, it's Sparx who are getting more farm, getting more objectives, and getting the early game lead.
Is the second charge. Ooh, Evil Yokai just managing to cancel it. The eye became available to hit and cut Shelly down there. Sparx could potentially have heralded Shelly in there. I'm sorry. For the second boop onto the tower. They decide instead to back away again. Just showing that respect, being careful because they didn't know where the rest of the members of Black Lions were. They knew that Sena and Law had recalled, so they could potentially get into the lane quickly with the Abyssal Voyage. I like that we didn't give anything else away, and although it is Black Lion that lead on kills, Sparx have about a 1.5k gold advantage. You can see that is the farm in various different lanes, definitely going their way so far.
Yeah, not really a surprise in the ball lane as now Entero called out warding, goes up with the repel, is trying to come down, but Sena picks up the kill, and yeah, good pick from Black Lion.
Absolutely nothing for the Spider to drop back down onto there. Elise will more or less have to come straight back down into the waiting arms of 3 members of the Black Lion roster. Bad timing as well because Drake has just respawned. It's going to be given away for free. Cloud Drake will benefit Black Lions a little bit. You know, it's getting a single Cloud Drake isn't the most influential, but it's always nice to have that extra ultimate cooldown. And with the Mountain Drake rising up, these are a lot of tanky stats that our teams can look to try and stack up. Now, both of them have members that would greatly benefit from it. You have to think that Sparx are really going to be trying to contest this because with their Scion barreling down any sort of lane, all of these extra resistances are going to be massive.
Yokai called out is going to use that shield, and Tero once again has to come up. That's the teleport committed from Finnick. They're gonna try and punish Black Lion for going for this play. Here comes the chain of corruption from Desert up in the top side. Evil Yokai now is still inside, going to flash away. Rest of Black Lion are joining the fight. Finnick, he's now left all alone. He's gonna be forced to flash away as Guardian finally picks up the kill. That's the first down for Sparx. They're looking for more. Cocoon lands onto Sena, good devour from low, but that's going to be the dark binding onto Cyrus. Not going to be enough. The process is gonna take down Finnick. Dekara still trying to fight back with the rank, but the damage from Sparx just doesn't seem to be coming through.
Such a scrappy fight around that red buff pit there. You're gonna see both teams will pick up one, I believe. Black Lion have so much sustain from Sena. She's just able to heal multiple members at a time with that piercing darkness. She can keep the team topped up just healthy enough but they can avoid losing anybody else. Finnick was doing a good job of tanking that front line. He was trying to take as much punishment as possible, but ultimately you can only survive for so long. Both teams walk away gaining one. Both will take a full reset.
First item picked up for Sena as well. The God damn it, that's the one item I actually don't know the name of. Anyways, she picks that one up. And now that means that unless Sparx get themselves their Blades of the Ruined King completed on Dekara or Desrim, they might find themselves suddenly out-damaged even more.
It certainly could be the case, because we're seeing how influential this Poppy can be. If you are fighting in these choke points, it really stops a lot of the movement that Sparx want to have. When you just put down that steadfast presence and you block Daikara from ever approaching your backline, you know, you just can't hop in there at all on this Kalista, because if you do, you're going to immediately be knocked up and you will be pounced on by Evil Yokai. And I want to give a good shout out to Evil Yokai as well. He dragged that fight out at the start for so long. He managed to just keep escaping with a little bit of health and dragging more members of Sparx in, dragging them further into this jungle, getting them more committed into this fight, which ultimately is how the massive team fight brawl started. You can see in the mid lane here, Sparx is around, and it looks like there's going to be an exchange of poke, but nothing else.
Right, and I think we have to start asking ourselves the question of what the teams are exactly playing around. If you're Sparx, you're looking to just spread resources and scale, but Black Lion, I don't want to say they are on a timer, but they definitely want to be pushing their lead forward. And Terrell, that burst is just disgusting. Not enough to kill Evil Yokai, and he actually nearly gets killed himself. Both are going to be
horrible.
It was.
Like, I know that Elise does a lot of early game damage. It's kind of what she's known for, but even then, like, that was simply disgusting. Antero really showing Evil Yokai that he can't just come up and face check any of these bushes. Black Lion do need to take their due diligence and play the map out properly, because hey, if Elise is waiting in a bush, if Antero can sink in his fangs, you may be caught off guard and you may be taken down very quickly. If Daikara would have been just a little bit further up in lane, you have to think that there would have been a very quick kill going over to the side of Sparx, but Black Lion just wouldn't have been able to answer.
They would not. Now Black Lion grouping up, the second Herald is up, and it looks like it's their objective of choice. That's where Black Lion want to make their stand. Fennec is going to get pinned into the wall. That's a pretty tanky sign to get through, and he just uses that ultimate to get himself out. Black Lion, they are still basically full health, have got the position on the Herald, and should be able to take this unless Sparx want to contest.
And so far, as you can see, the Sparx members are trying, they're coming in now, they're looking for the fight.
Yeah, the fight is going to break open. That is the Herald secured by the side of Black Lion. Fennec is on the front line, no ultimate available. Chains of Corruptions come out from Desrim. He's going to root some Black Lion members in place. Sena looking to sneak some people in. That's going to be the Cocoon, I believe, onto Cyrox. And no one is going to die. Both teams just sort of handshaking there in the river.
And this is what you get when you have these beefy frontliners. Both teams have the tank to stand at the front, be that presence to force people back and absorb all the damage. Sparx are going to move onto the Drake. Black Lion know they're doing this, but with the Herald in their possession, they might just look to burst down the mid tower. They're not going to attempt to contest this Drake. They're just taking priority over mid. They're going to look to get most of the damage on this tower. Cyrox with a fantastic Weaver's Wall, completely blocking off any opportunity for Sparx to come in here. They're having to like the long way around. They've gone for one. Will they try and push for two? I think this is a little bit bold now, but with Sparx, they're not going to contest for either. A fantastic push, fantastic macro decision by Black Lion will net them 2 towers in the mid lane, open the map up a hell of a lot more, and this is the kind of situation where they can now move into Sparx's jungle and start establishing their own vision.
And out of all the things I could have predicted for this game, Black Lion out-macroing Sparx in one play that hard did not cross my mind. They get 2 mid lane towers just for a Mountain Drake. It doesn't matter at this point. It's just the first one out of the 3. You can give that up. Black Lion do so. And that means that once this Baron is going to spawn, they can set up so much vision. And you're playing Poppy, Anthea, Tilia. Good luck face checking against that.
Yeah, if you try and get through any any unwarded territory in your jungle, you always have the difficulty potentially just being smashed into the wall by the Poppy, stunned immediately by the Pantheon, thrown backwards by Talia into a pit of rocks. And we were saying that we were concerned about the damage that Black Lion had on their team if they didn't find early leads. While I'm still not convinced they have gone far enough, because they are actually still behind in gold, remember? You know, they are, not by much, but it's about 800 to a K behind in gold. They are certainly showing signs of life. They are showing that they can play the map, they can rotate around, and they're able to make these split-second decisions of which objectives to give over and which ones to prioritize. Because in that last situation, they traded up big on the map just now.
And now the question remains, what can they do with that? Of course, put Sena mid, let her farm up once, now that that support item is done. And the rest of the map, you gotta watch Evil Yokai as Daikara is trying to run him down. A lot of Spears in there, Durant will kill him. Oh, okay, never mind. Dekara now is going to be in a lot of trouble as the teleport from Apostles picks up the kill, and Tero uses that flash to get away.
The damage simply wasn't there yet to take down Evil Yokai. Apostas teleports in, he gets the ram into the wall, and that will be the end of Daikara. Once again, an over-aggression on the side of Sparx will cost them a member. It will cost them more damage on this bottom tower, and with Antero having to back away coming up into mid lane now, Black Lion will get the tower in the bot lane, but will they lose one in mid?
So far it looks likely, however, Sena seems to have just enough wave clear to prevent that. Evil Yokai knocks down that bot lane tier 1 now 3 towers to 1, and Sparx had a 2000 gold lead. Now it's all even.
Certainly is, and the problem that I have with Black Lion in this matchup is it's all very well us talking about how they're ahead in kills, how they've made some good macro decisions, how they are now even on the gold. I think they need to be ahead by quite a margin for the comp to kind of scale up with any sort of certainty, because Finnick, he's just not taking any damage right now. He's probably going to be able to get back to tower with the flash, and 4 members up onto this top side will get nothing. Yes, Finnick had to flash up here, but there was a lot of resources used, a lot of time wasted by Sparx top laner there, but the rest of their members have had time to reset, they've had time to push out in the bot side. And like I was saying, I'm worried that when it comes to these 5v5 team fights in about 6 to 7 minutes time, you're gonna start to struggle for actually killing people when you are Black Lion.
And the items are all coming through for Sparx. On top of that, you've got the blades on both the carries. Desrim is very close to that Ginsu's. You can see the gold numbers, of course, the AD carry difference being a bit inflated by the what's it called? Fasting Senna strategy, but still 7,500 gold for Desrim at 20 minutes is good.
It certainly is. Like, it's nothing to be sniffed at all. 200 CS, 10 a minute so far, because there's been no real pressure towards the bot side of Sparx. And we've said in our analysis beforehand, we looked in depth at these teams and how they played, and one of the big things that Sparx relied on was Desrim in these late game team fights.
Alright, another team fight coming through. Finnick gets a massive knock-up on the side. So far, not really doing a lot. Sena on the backside low. Cyrox also completely zoned out of this fight now. Apostas is gonna knock 2 people away from Sparx, and I guess the Poppy ult is what disengages the fight.
The Poppycopter can provide so much displacement, getting rid of a tank, getting rid of Daikara as well. Looking to play aggressively forward, Law will manage to escape there once again, picking up Sena, keeping her safe, but on the bot side.
Apostas cut out, Finnick gets the shutdown, gets the decimating smash onto Cyrox, and this wins his day yet again. Sparx looking for the second Mountain Drake. This one is not necessarily the one you want to give up if you're Black Lion. What will they do with it? Because they can't contest it.
And this is the thing, in the first time this Drake was given up, Black Lion had the opportunity to punish in the mid lane. They got a massive push which gave them 2 towers. Now, they don't really get anything. Yes, they get to push out the wave in mid. Yes, they get time for Evil Yokai to go top and catch that wave. But it's nothing substantial. It's nothing that is an actual objective. It's going to give them something back on the map. It's just kind of a CS that they were already looking to try and get. So that time, Sparx will pick it up for free. The next Mountain Drake will be for Soul Point, and that will be a huge, huge shield that will help these engages and weather any sort of poke that Black Lion are trying to throw at them.
We are going to see a replay of, I assume, one of the latest fights. Yeah, so how did Apostas get caught out?
It just looks like he was simply too far forwards. He was, that was just the simple story of it. He was too far forwards on the side. Finnick and Antero have enough CC between them. They have enough damage between them to finish him off. And yeah, from there, without their main frontline tank, Black Lion decide to back away from the Drake, and they give it over, meaning that Sparx will be now at Soul Point going forwards. And the Baron has respawned. The Baron is available now. Neither of the teams have really gone towards it so far. We haven't seen a massive attempt to take it. Black Lion's Baron taking is very, very slow. They need the right time, the right window to be able to actually attempt it, because they don't have a standard AD carry that gives this consistent damage. They don't have the Kalista, the Varus that are going to be able to rip through it fairly quickly now they've both got Blade of the Ruin King. So I'm not expecting Black Lion to try and sneak it. I'm expecting them to defensively play around it. They're going to wait until Sparx may try and bait it into it and look for the counter fight to catch them off guard. I expect it to be Sparx, but is going to be looking towards this Baron. They're going to be ones that are making the moves to try and actually to claim this objective themselves.
Especially if you think about the double AD carry damage, it's going to go down really fast whenever Sparx get their hands on it. Well, thank God the old Mountain Drake doesn't work the way it used to be, because then their Baron take would be even disgusting. That being said, Fnatic takes down the bot lane tier 1, and Black Lion are looking to establish some vision, so actually using those 2 turrets gone in their favor. However, the same concern still remains. You gotta get something done soon, because the longer this game goes, the bleaker it looks if you're Black Lion.
It certainly does, because we said that they needed to find advantages early, and they did. They did make some really good plays. They made some really nice decisions that gave them some quite big advantages. But if you look at where the damage is coming from, you've got a 1-on-1 Pantheon right now. At 24, 25 minutes into the game, that's not really gonna cut it anymore. You need Evil Yokai to be able to jump on someone and 100-0 them. Daikara, Desrim, Antero, they need to be scared of this Pantheon. They need to fear him appearing out of nowhere and just being able to burst them out of a fight. And right now, I simply don't think that level of damage is there. They're looking more into this extended fight, and Sena being the main damage, the main carry for the side of Black Lions now. And she just simply won't do the same amount of work that a Kalista and a Varus will.
Alternatively, Sparx possibly on that Talia now completed the Leandros, the superior AP item. So maybe will be enough in those team fights. Who knows? However, in the last 2, if I recall correctly, it was just chunked down and zoned off. Yeah, so that cannot happen.
That's the thing. This Talia will do a lot of damage if she manages to burst someone down. But if she is unable to find that combo or gets burst out herself, you then kind of don't have any options.
This is very interesting. Daikara pulls Destin with the Fate's Call. However, now that's the route. Daikara cleanse flash away, and good collapse from Black Lion. However, it's kind of hard to gank a Kalista with cleanse flash and Desrim connected with that ulti.
Yeah, no, I'm going to be honest. I thought I saw earlier on that Varus had been bonded to this Kalista with the Fate's Call. I was assuming, oh, guarding you, it's going to have to flash away from that one. Finnick, you don't really have the support of your team there, buddy. I get what you're trying to do, but it's maybe a bit over-aggressive. Will manage to ward Black Lion out of the jungle. Will manage to usher them away, but it looks like they're returning, but not willing to give this up just yet. Seems Sparx are now gonna congregate. We're gonna have a fight over this last dragon. I'm glad to see that Black Lion have decided to move down here. They have decided to prioritize trying to get the superior position because it is soul point for Sparx, remember.
Yeah, Sparx already losing some health, so far not in the dangerous region for the time being. Apostles is on the front line, so is Fnatic. Both of them soaking up quite a bit of damage. Desrim on the sideline is gonna take the tongue lash. Evil Yokai looking for Daikara to move up. Remember, no cleanse, no flash for this team fight. Actually, Evil Yokai going to take that mid lane wave. No ultimate, and that's the engage coming in for Fnatic. Only connects on the Apostles. That's going to be Sparx on the sideline, getting a lot of damage in. Now all eyes have to be on Senna. Desert has to flash and heal away immediately after the fight. Desert, he's still somehow alive. Low is going to get low, taken out by Daikara. It's a 1-for-1 though, as this fight just turns more scrappy by the minute. Fnatic is going to get jumped on by Evil Yokai, tries to put down the decimating smash, and that's Apostles going in, and Terrell still waiting on the flank. Killing spree for Sena as Daikara is going to fall. Black Lion narrowly managed to win this fight.
Black Lion win out in the extended fight. We've been talking so much about how we expected that to go Sparx's way because of the double AD carry, but Apostles and Law do so much well, but it's not over yet.
No, yeah, and Terrell taken out, but that is also the return kill onto Sparx. Desrum is now going to be the target. The Pulse is trying to get the damage in. Evil Yokai helps him out. Now, Finnick is the raid boss. I think he might actually have a decent chance in the 1 versus 2 here. We'll have to see. Good cancel from Apostles. Evil Yokai, no mana. Finnick kills on a killing speed. This fight is just so damn hectic and it never stops.
Come here, Apostles, you're wanted next. Sion is looking to hunt you down, and we thought the fight was over. We thought it had fizzled out, but both teams decide to re-engage. Finnick comes storming down the river with the Sion Pain train. We see Pantheon will use the Dragon's Descent to draw into the fight as well. And while the Drake still remains, both teams took an absolute battering there. Black Lions did a fantastic job of kiting backwards, playing safe, and picking off members of Sparx when they needed to. You saw Daikara simply wasn't able to enter that fight at all. The mere presence of Apostas is such a problem for this Kalista that it zones him out entirely, and as soon as you have that situation in play, a huge amount of Sparx's consistent damage is simply removed. They will manage to move down onto Drake. They will manage to pick up the Mountain Soul for themselves. That's going to give them quite a big boon going into these fights going forwards.
And I think the most important thing to focus on in this replay is the kiting backwards. That Devour from low. Great.
Fantastic, yeah. Gets Sena out of trouble immediately, and for this entire fight, she is practically untouched on the backline. You can see Daikara, they're simply ignoring him. He's full health. It still looks good for Sparx, but watch Apostos here in a second. He's going to use Finnick to get onto Daikara, and that will be the end of the Kalista. No damage coming through from this champion at all. Here you go. Knocked up when she tries to hop away. Evil Yokai pounces. This is what I'm talking about. Although there is only really one champion on the Sparx roster that has the dash, it is the main, or one of the main carries. The Kalista is countered so hard by the Poppy. Finnick TPing in, getting the ult for the second. No, he didn't even use the ult the second time. He just walked it down here. He managed to pick up the fight, and yeah, at this point you've got one damage dealer in the form of Pantheon.
Oh, we have another team fight happening here. Baron has just reset, so I don't know what happened previously. That's going to be the knockup on Evil Yokai, and the Pulses and Tero picks up the first kill of the fight. Look at Zena, she's kind of out of position if you ask me. The Devour comes out from low. Saros is low on the backline, trying to kite back. The Dawning Shadow is going to cam down Finnick on a rampage, and Black Lion, they're getting routed. Double stun coming through from the Soul Shackles. Sena is down. Low is the last one standing. Double kill picked up by Finnick, and that's going to be a team fight win and the Baron buff for Sparx.
Certainly will indeed, and although it is unfortunate to say, I believe at this point it is true. The clock has run out for Black Lion. They have no way to answer Finnick now. They have no consistent damage that can cut through a tank that is this Sion. He is just able to press forward pretty much unhindered right now, and wherever he goes, Black Lion have to retreat away from. If they find a pick onto Evil Yokai or onto Sparx, the rest of the damage falls through the floor. The gold lead has swung substantially in Sparx's favor. In the past few minutes, we've seen them take 2 fights, we've seen them take 2 main objectives, and now we'll start to watch them taking towers.
And Black Lion, they just don't really have anything. So this actually started with Sparx attempting the Baron.
Yeah, exactly as I kind of thought it would play out. We see that Black Lion can't approach the Baron themselves. They know they're not going to take it quick enough, so they try to ambush Sparx. They try to get the return play when they go for it. Unfortunately, they just don't have the damage. All of these tanky stats coming through from the 3 Mountain Drakes, the shield as well stacking up. It means that when they do for all of their engaged down, most of it lands onto Finnick, and it kind of just, you know, it just shrugs it off. He doesn't really care. Even guarding you at the end, Morgana does manage to get away. Law realizes that there's nothing else they can do. A little bit of dancing there as the axe will be dropped. Once again, Black Lion are going to try for it, but what can they do?
Well, the Grand Starfall is going to be coming in from Evil Yokai, but he's just getting burst down. There is nothing that you can do. Finnick comes through with the knockout. Cyrox is taken out. guarding and going in for the Soul Shackle, saying that the only damage threat remaining Apostles, it doesn't even feel like a tank at this point. Daycara finds the kill, Low with another devouring can only save Sena so many times. Low is going to be knocked up and Tero looking for the kill, jumping in. Low pops down the shield as well, but you have to believe that it's it for Black Lion in game 1. It looked good in the first 10 minutes, but it just simply wasn't enough. Sparx have scaled up, and now they're going to take the game 1 win.
4 versus 5, by the way, with an AD carry being thrown onto the tank. Dykara and Desrim doing a clinic on this Callisto. You don't typically expect to see. Oh no, the diving fountain.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, guys. That wasn't necessary. But yeah, you don't typically expect to see an AD carry being the target of that Fate's Call from the Callista, but used to great effect there by Dykara. He managed to pull Desrim out of trouble on more than one occasion. He threw him back into the fray, giving good knockups, and just really pressing home the advantage when needed. You can see, once again, Desrim only went down once. He provided that damage. Finnick put on an absolute masterclass up in the top lane. Sion picks up 2, picks up 3 tanky items. You don't have anyone that can deal with him, and then you have a big, big problem.
Yeah, I know I was the one to question whether putting Finnick on a tank is good, but it absolutely is. If Black Lion don't get a massive lead anywhere else, then Sparx can deal with it, and then Finnick just... That man had second most damage in the game. All right.
Yeah, just Sion things. Just Sion things, really. I mean, some of those ultimates that he was coming in, like in that last fight there, I think we saw him get a 3-man knockup with his ultimate into the back. We're going to see a bit of a replay of it now, because they try and split the fight. You can see Cyrox there. He throws down the Weaver's wall. Finnick is cut off on the other side, and here it is. Cyrox, Apostas, and Yokai are going to group up together. They're going to get slammed. And right now, Evil Yokai's already gone down. Finnick has no one that can stop him at all. Apostos in the face of the Varus and the Callista. He's just going to be cut to pieces. Sena simply doesn't have the damage. And you mentioned there, Kashka, about you were concerned about putting Finnick on a tank. You thought it was perhaps a bit of a waste of his talents and kind of his role that he's been playing within Sparx. I completely agree. And I think that is still a valid concern, because I don't think it was necessarily Finnick playing incredibly well on the Sion that got Sparx ahead. I think it was Black Lion not having an answer to it. It seems that Sena just isn't able or doesn't want to play the more standard ADCs, the Varuses, your Caitlyn's, your Callistas, your Phelios, whatever it might be. That is typically a team's answer to these tanks. They are the consistent damage. They are the people that can cut through a tank over the course of a fight. And as soon as you remove that, you need to kind of find it somewhere else. And right now, no one else from Black Lion is picking up that mantle.
Definitely have it. This is best of 3 Black Lion. They still have got a chance to come back in this series, and that is what we'll be looking at in the game 2. So don't go anywhere, because we'll just throw it over to the short break before we'll see you on the other side, I guess.
You gave it up before you even tried, before you even gave it a shot. So why should I feel helpless? Why should I feel useless now? So find another way to get into my arms, to get into my heart again. Cause why should I feel helpless? Why should I feel useless now? Nobody's ever gonna hold me down. The night is young and we're free. Nobody's ever gonna throw me down. There's nothing left you can say. Nobody's ever gonna hold me down. The night is young and we're free. Nobody's ever gonna throw me down. There's nothing left you can say. Nobody's ever gonna hold me down. The night is young and we're friends. Nobody's ever gonna throw me down. There's nothing left you can say.
Hello and welcome back after the break. Sparx, they have shown us how scaling compositions work, and now if you're Black Lion, you're hoping to bounce back and force the game 3.
You certainly are, and there's a few adjustments you need to make, because I am going to be quite critical of Black Lion's draft here. You had kind of one style throughout the regular season, and although we've been critical for having only one style, when it worked, it really, really worked. And you tried something that was kind of similar, but kind of not, and it just didn't. You picked something that was a bit of early game, a bit of late game, and the late game options that you picked weren't enough, weren't sufficient. The early game options that you picked didn't get ahead enough, and you need double down on one or the other. I think this is where Black Lions excel. Go all in on the early game and find those early leads that we've seen you can generate. Close games out in, sub 25 minutes like we've seen that you can. Or go for a more standard composition, pick up a standard ADC that you can scale with that will be useful in these late game team fights and will actually deal with tanks. And that is the kind of adjustment I want to see from Black Lion. They made some fantastic plays, they had some fantastic fights. I think it was a draft that let them down, and I think that is where they really need to adjust.
Teams surprisingly staying on the same side, the same bans coming out from the side of Sparx, and... Oh, it's not. Okay, so they are actually so... Hold on. So, are the bans under the right team? Or... I don't know.
Yeah, so... Okay, so we do apologize, everyone. We're having a little bit of confusion because as you can see, we've been working hard on the new stream overlay, all fancy dancy new champions like stuff. There's a couple of little teething problems, so I believe we've just had it in our ear that it should be Black Lions are on blue side, Sparx should be over here on red side.
Yeah, they should be there. Yeah, well, wait.
Yeah, they should be over on the other side, but the bans have come through on the correct sides, Reed?
Yeah, because the thing is that those bans make sense as they are. I think Sparx are the ones who would ban out Veigar, Karthus, and Ord, and Black Lion would definitely ban out the Kalista after game 1. Lucian, though, is an interesting pick.
It's early game. I like it.
It is.
I was just criticizing Black Lion, say pick one, pick a style and go for it. And if it is Black Lion that have picked up the Lucian early, I like it. I think it's a good option. But then Sparx are going to respond with the Zyra Khan.
Yeah, Reed, you're trolling us.
Report production. Report production. There's nothing wrong with the overlays. Everything is fine. Our producer just woke up 5 minutes before the stream went live, and he still doesn't know what's going on. But we love you, Reed. You've been working hard for this, man. It's just nice if we actually know what's going on ourselves.
Yeah, it's okay, Reed. Alright, well, coming back to the draft, so it's Zyra Khan.
Everything's fine.
Yeah, so Sena playing an AD carry that should be able to carry, and Sparx still going for the Elise and Morgana, which worked, so I don't blame them for that.
Yeah, and... I was saying that I liked Black Lion picking up the Lucian. I also like them going towards the Zyra Khan because it is the more standard AD carry. She can do a ton of damage in team fights, and we have seen Sena play this champion a few times already. Normally when her other options are banned away, it's kind of the backup default, but I like that they're opting into this early on. It shows that they've clearly acknowledged that there was a problem in the first game, and they're trying to address those issues, and I think Xayah is a good option to that. Another good option is the Olaf. Fantastic early jungler and can really cause some damage to these tanks and go toe-to-toe with people in long extended brawls. It just now raises the question, what is Evil Yokai going to play? Because we've typically seen him on AD mid laners, and with an Olaf and a Xayah already, that's going to be a lot of AD stacking if you don't pick up some sort of mage or AP assassin.
Right, and Sparx realized the same thing. One champion that Evil Yokai has played at OCP was Ryze, now banned away. Black Lion banning out the Varus, which I 100% agree with. Desrim was pretty good on that, and generally target banning Desrim is a good strategy. Then you're assuming that Lucian is gonna go mid, which I think is likely. They could pick it up, but it also means that Sparx can just say, actually, we're gonna put Desrim on the Lucian, which would be a twist. And then pick something else mid lane, which could, Yeah, no, but yeah, Pixan is in
Yeah.
mid lane, which
Yeah,
will
yeah.
completely nullify the second 2 bans from, or the last 2 bans from Black Lion.
It does give a lot of flexibility, and that's a nice option. I'm assuming that that's going to be going towards the top lane for
Most
Blackline.
likely.
Apostos is clearly a bit of a tank player. He likes being the front line. He likes being the disruptor that's going to get up into Sparx's face and cause some problems. And Shen certainly provides a lot of options for that. You know, he has the ultimate to be able to join people across the map, turn any fight into a numbers advantage, get that extra bit of pressure going along, can also create the zone where you can't be hit by auto attacks into a Lucian Caitlyn. That's going to be extremely potent because we're wondering whether Sparx were trying to flex this Lucian first pick around. It looks like he is going to be staying into the mid lane, Caitlyn Morgana bot lane with a Sion in the top lane. We're now just waiting on Evil Yokai. What's it going to be? It's going to be a Cassio.
So that just feels like the profiles of the teams have flipped. It's Sparx now who have so much early game. Elise, Lucian, Kaylin, Morgana. Those lanes just scream, do something early, get yourself some lead. Black Lion on the other side, so much scaling. Sparx is going to be playing the transition role on that Olaf, but other than that, Black Lion are looking to play around that 25-30 minute mark, the same way that Sparx did last game.
And honestly, I really like this a lot from Blackline. I know I have been very critical of their drafting, but I think that this is the kind of thing they needed to look towards. I'm hoping this is the kind of strategy they've been practicing in those 2 weeks we've had off, and they couldn't come in here and cause a bit of an upset because they do have answers to what Sparx have now brought to the table. They've got the tanky top laner, so they have the Xayah to cut through, they have the Cassio, they have the Olaf. They have a lot of damage themselves that is all going to come from auto attacks in the form of the Lucian and the Caitlyn. Well, Shen deals with that quite nicely. You've got lots of engage from the Rakan. You've got Peel with the Cassio, with the Shen. They have a bit of everything, and I think it makes a lot more sense than what their previous draft and some of their drafts from the regular split have done. It's just whether they're going to be able to execute it on it, because typically this isn't the style they've found success with.
Yeah, and unfortunately, there is no silver bullet in drafting. There's always going to be a weakness in every composition, and with this one, the one weakness is the early game. And what do Sparx have? They have so much early game setup. And Antero playing on an Elise, a champion he played really well on. The Kara now, after the Kalista performance, I'm pretty confident that he might be able to perform just as well on the Lucian. And let's not forget the bot lane. Kaylin Morgana, an absolute beast to play against. So Sparx are now the team that can essentially win themselves the spot in the semifinals in the first 15 minutes, and it's up to them to take it, and there isn't that much Black Lion can do.
But if they don't manage to find that lead,
That's true.
you run into the exact same problem. Yes, Caitlyn scales very well. Yes, you're going to have a beefy frontliner, but post 25 minutes, where's your AP damage? Where's where's any form of AP damage to cut through this Shen who's going to be going to armor items at least? Where's it to stop the Olaf with the dead man's play? You know, even if I was looking at the Xayah and Rakan, I'd be looking at Ninja Tabis this game, because realistically, post 20 minutes onwards, you're not going to be seeing a huge amount of damage out of this Elise and the Morgana unless they find huge leads at the start of the game. It's all going to be coming from this Lucian, and then it's all going to move on to the Caitlyn. And once again, Lucian's a champion that relies on his mobility. He relies on his dashes to get in and out of fights. So if he's taunted by the Shen, or he's locked down in Cassio's miasma, where's he supposed to be running to?
Yeah, just really nowhere. So Sparx, they have a bit of a tough task, but I think if Sparx are to win this game, then they win a game through scaling, they win a game through early game, and if that is the 2-0 that Sparx are definitely looking for in this position, it puts them in a strong spot no matter who they face in that semifinals. And now on the flip side, if you're Black Lion, I remember that they were one of the teams that didn't say that they were going to win Square 1. Their goal is to make top 3. Well, of course, if you want to make top 3, you gotta win this game now. And you have you have no more chances. You have used your one chance. You gotta win 2 games from here to move on to the semifinals, and it could all start now.
It will indeed, and like you were saying about Sparx winning with an early game comp showing that they're going to round things out, this would round out Black Lion's capabilities as well. They have been a bit of a one-trick team so far. I know we keep going on about it. Trust me, I'm getting sick of saying it myself, but unfortunately, it did seem so telegraphed from them week after week, and I'm really genuinely excited to see just a standard comp come out from them, because they had not been playing this at all. And if they can come out now and perform on it, that is going to give me a massive confidence boost in this Black Lion roster, in their ability to go and hit that top 3 mark that they said they were looking towards.
Yes, we are going to be hopefully slowly loading into the game. Something just interesting to point out, 2 cleanses on Evil Yokai and Sena very much should be the case when you're playing a Morgana, when you're playing a Caitlyn and a Annalise. So they're just looking to sort of stay alive early game.
Absolutely.
I'm just wondering what Sparx will do now here, because you're playing the Olaf. You sort of want to gank some lanes early, but where could you even gank?
So I think you have to have. There's 2 options you can look for here. If I'm thinking Sparx, I'm thinking, what do you're starting on red side. What do you want to do? Well, start on your blue buff. Get your good leash, and then as you're progressing through the jungle up to top side, constant communication with your yokai. You need to know within that first 2.5 minutes how far forward Daikara is pushing. Is he stepping up to try and pressure the lane, try and push it under tower? Is he playing very safely back? Because that gives you the information of where you want to go next. If Daikara is stepping up on the Lucian, you get Evil Yokai to land the Miasma, Sparx comes in behind, maybe even commit the flashes to get an early kill there, and you start the snowball that way. If not, you look towards top side, you use the more, perhaps the easier option, trying to gank this Sion with the Shen. We've already said that Shen can taunt, you can keep the Sion in place for a decent amount of time. Although he's a tank, he's still fairly squishy early on. So with the Olaf and the Shen there together, I think Finnick could be exploited once again. But it's going to be about that communication for me if I'm looking at Sparx and where I'm wanting to make my first impact felt.
So we're going onto the Rift for the second game of this quarterfinal. We'll see Entero once again looking to move up, place some ward. Will he do the same thing as last time with placing it over the Baron wall? Kind of seems likely right now as he's hesitant to walk into Sparx, and I would be as well. Level 1 Olaf is just not a champion you want to fight.
No, I'm definitely not in the slightest. You don't want to be going anywhere near that guy. But a standard line of scrimmage is going to be coming out. Entero's going to be backing away now, likely swapping over to the sweeper so he can clear any vision that he's worried about Black Lion might have put down to spot him out. Finnick is going to be staying in the river just now. You can see junglers are going to be starting on opposite sides of the rift. It looks like Olaf is waiting to start on that red buff, and Apostas has been spotted here. Like you say, by that ward put down from Antero over back of the pit. He always looks to try and find some of his early vision. He tries to get a little bit of information on what is going on. Red buff start for the side of Black Lion, blue buff start for Sparx, so both junglers going buff to buff on this top to bottom route by the looks of it.
Yeah, and I'm actually curious how Entero will decide to go, because Elise actually isn't a champion he played that much in the regular season. And on the other champions like Olaf, like Jarvan, he would often just full clear into looking for a gank on whatever side of the map he would end up on. Now you're Elise, so you can still try and do that, however with bot lane pushing up, probably not the best idea.
No, and you're not going to be able to find an easy gank onto this bot lane to start with, because your lane is going to have so much extra pressure. Morgana and Caitlyn can just push together for days. They have so much damage to the entire wave that's just really easy to access. But if they want to push this lane fast, they can. If they want to control it and let it push in towards them, they can. They are going to be the ones setting the tempo in this bot lane, so it's not really going to be Antero's choice of whether he has the option to gank down there. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, you can see Daikara, he is pushed up quite far. Yes, he's still in the middle of the lane, but it's definitely Evil Yokai that's been pushed under his tower at the minute, and the junglers might come to blow here on this bottom side of the map. You can see Black Lion have very respectfully put the ward into the back. Antero's going in.
Yeah, he's going in. That's so much burst damage onto Sparx. He also has got the red buff. Sparx is going to smite the blue buff just to help him heal up. Low already coming up, and then Antero, nice invade there, will actually force Sparx to back off. That is a massive early jungle.
And if you looked at the map, you could see the difference in pressure. Obviously, with being behind Black Lion Tower, there was nowhere that Desrim and Guarding You could get up to help. Law immediately moved up, but they knew Daikara was on the way too. This Lucian in the mid lane has the ability to move before the Cassiopeia and support his jungle if needed. So that was why Sparx had to back away there. The Olaf will go away empty-handed. The blue buff, and by the looks of it, the Gromp as well, going to be stolen away by Antero here.
Antero might get punished for that. Good repel, comes down onto the ward near Sena, and actually he doesn't get punished. Sneaky Elise is gonna take the blue buff, get out, and Antero doing works in this early game. And oh no, Finnick! Oh, that was so close. If Finnick stole that, then Sparx genuinely cannot play League of Legends.
Yeah, Olaf would have been so put behind by that. The difference between the junglers would have been mounted. You can see how much damage Olaf is actually doing to this.
Evil Yokai in the mid, Daikara burns the heal, and Finnick by the looks of it also gets out without burning any of his sums.
Yep, Evil Yokai is extremely low there though. You know what? The cleanse isn't going to do anything against the Lucian, just the raw damage, and he's been poked oh so low. Lucian has had his way with this wave so far.
Antero, he's flashing in first blood under the tier 2 mid lane.
And nowhere nearby, Olaf will not be able to punish that at all. Antero has had so much access to Black Lion's jungle so far, he's really making it his own. And with the early game composition that Sparx have drafted themselves for, or certainly in comparison to Black Lion, they need to be making these aggressive plays. Antero needs to be living in this first kind of ring up from the river, but Olaf is coming down now. Daikara is here to support. Will be spotted out on that ward, so they'll know about it. Sparx is gonna catch him, do a little bit of damage, be able to get away. But it just feels like Olaf is running around playing catch-up.
And we haven't even talked about the bot lane, which now is a really damn massive place for Sparx to get their lead. Yeah, Desrim has twice saying a CS right now.
Yeah, that's a problem.
That's
a
big
problem. And like we said, Sena hasn't really been one for playing these traditional marksmen. She has opted towards AP champions, with Xayah being a bit of a fallback. It seems that with the pressure coming through from the Caitlyn and the Morgana, has struggled to pick up a bit of that CS undertower. Will try and get something for themselves now. Good play by Olaf. Sparx manages to go in and get the Infernal Drake for free. That's going to certainly do him a lot of favors, because the Mountain Drake will be spawning in 5 minutes time, meaning it will either be the Ocean Soul or the Cloud Soul up for grabs, both of which are going to help Black Lion a massive amount if they can secure them. So trying to stack some of these advantages, trying to make small macro plays and rotate first is what Sparx is going to need to do if he wants to get back into this game, because although he's ahead on CS of the Elise, she has definitely made more of an impact of supporting her laners so far.
Yeah, and actually what is really curious is how Sparx are playing more around bot lane this game. Something I picked up on throughout the regular season is they almost never played around bot lane, if at all. And maybe until week 7, one game they tried with Desert One out Ballista, but I will have to hold on. Evil Yokai getting ganked in the mid lane. The calling is gonna come out. Stand United as well. Saves Evil Yokai. Sparx just coming in by not really getting anything done, and Daikara is just unstoppable on this Lucian.
The Vampiric Scepter is letting him play so aggressively. You know, there's 2v2 in the mid lane, this kind of big advantage that we've always hyped up Black Lions for, where it was their strength. Now, it doesn't seem like they're able to find anything. Daikara is really pushing forwards on this Lucian, really making his presence felt. And if they can keep this tempo up, keep this priority in the mid lane, it is going to open up Antero even more to keep invading into this jungle and keep supporting his side laners.
And Sparx are playing the textbook bully mid lane when you have bot lane prio. You can see the deep wards in the blue buff jungle. Desrim has got the check on Sena at all times. There is no point in the game where Sena can just freely farm well, unless Desrim is recalling, which happened once. And Sparx already 2000 gold in the lead. Black Lion, they will they need to do something so they don't fall too far behind. I'm gonna pretend I did not see that.
Yokai? It's normally Daikara that whiffs ults in the mid lane, not you, buddy. You're normally spot on with those. That was petrifying gaze. Mate, he's trying to stack up the tier even more.
Oh yeah, it makes sense.
That was it. He was trying to. He hadn't bought. No, he had bought the tier at that point.
Yeah, he has. He had the tier. Yeah.
Yeah. He's just trying to stack up the tier. He knows that he's coming back into lane. He knows that he can afford to do that. It's fine. Calculated plays. You know, we're not going to doubt our man like that. We're not going to doubt Evil Yokai for doing this. We're going to doubt.
Daikara has no mana. Yeah, burns the heal, has got the flash. Actually, even with no mana, Daikara is still winning that 1v1 against Sparx, and at least Sparx doesn't have to burn his flash.
I think Sparx could have had that one. Not gonna lie. I think
Possibly.
Sparx could have potentially had that one. It would have been very close, and I think it was good play by Sparx to back off there. You know, you don't want to be over-aggressive and throw your life away for no reason. That's where you get called an inter. So deciding to walk away forces the heal out of Daikara. Very good play. We can see the rotation has come up. Both teams' bot lanes have moved up. It will be Antera that gets the Rift Herald, but now they actually have to pick up the Eye.
And I don't think they will be allowed to do that. Great interrupt on that Grand Entrance, and Teros still gonna come down with the Repel, saying as there with the feathers. Evil Yokai finally gets the first kill for his Black Lion. Whilst we were watching, Daikara sneaks in and takes it away.
Oh, that's gotta feel bad for Black Lion. They do such a good job zoning away the trio on the top side. They pick up the kill and they're like, wait, but what we came here for, it's gone. They got it while we weren't looking. Daikara sneaking in there. Lucian now with the empowered backs on this mid lane. You know, not something we often talk about this early in the game, but it's gonna give him so much more options to push in the lane, recall quickly, and get back before Evil Yokai can bounce the lane back into his tower. Of course, he can then look to roam around, try and drop the Herald wherever he wants for that extra chunk of gold, for that extra bit of tower damage, but another little nuance going in favor of Sparx right there.
Sparx moving down towards the bot lane as the Drake is spawning in 40 seconds. Daikara taking out that Scuttle Crab. Oh, one more auto attack. Come on. Yeah, you've got this.
There we go.
Yeah. I wonder if Black Lion will try to hard contest that. The bot lanes have been put up into the top side. And, okay, no, Fennec is hard on farming Apostles again. I was going to say that at least the top lane isn't going badly for the side of Black Lion. Well, whilst that's not necessarily false, Fennec is having a massive lead in the 1v1.
And unfortunately for Black Lion, that appears to be the story in pretty much every lane. You've got a 30 CS advantage in bot, you've got a 30 CS advantage in mid, you've got a 20 CS advantage in top, so not quite as dire, but that's why we have a gold lead already. 2k over to the side of Sparx with even kills on the board. They're starting to just eke out advantages in terms of CS, and right now, I don't think that either of the teams are going to really want to fight to contest this too much. You can see that Phoenix going for it. Good binding onto Evil Yokai.
Yeah, and it is going to be secured now by Sparx. The fight breaks out, calling onto the side. Fennec is going to be the target, but Sparx, you kind of have to be careful. Does he have the flash? I don't know, but look at the blue buff now. Yeah, Sparx did flash over the wall. I thought that Daikara wants to continue the chase, but Sparx instead, they say, alright, we're going to give it to you, and we're going to repeat your play, but taking the mid lane whilst you do the dragon.
Evil Yokai is here, and unfortunately, I think Shelly will go down before quite dropping the tower there. That means that they can't go for the second charge and get that massive amount of damage. Sparx and Yokai collapse onto Antero, but he will once again be able to get out. First tower will go over to the side of Sparx. A lot of that gold went into Daikara's pocket, but with the Drake on their side, Black Lions is all adding up to this scaling roster that they're going for. The Cloud Drake is going to be what's on the table for them, and you've got to think by the time that Sparx would be able to get that Cloud Soul, their composition has already going to have started falling off hard.
Whilst that is true, Sparx are at the point where they are so far ahead in just in terms of the CS and the gold. By the way, I don't think we need the gold anymore.
I was about to say the same thing.
Yeah, Black Lion will need to get something else done, because at this pace, you're looking at something like a 22-minute win for Sparx if you just extrapolate the current trend. That, of course, isn't always true. Black Lion still have options, but they actually have to do something.
They certainly do, and I think so far, it's enough to not be falling too far behind. Because although we're talking about the CS deficits, you look at who you're talking about with one. You're talking about one with Cassiopeia, who you know needs time to scale up. She needs 2 items, at least, before she even becomes a champion in the first place. You've got a Shen, who is there to essentially be a tank and cause problems. He's not a primary damage dealer. You have a Xayah, who, yes, although she is supposed to be the damage, she still has plenty of time to catch waves. She has plenty of time to build up and scale into that side lane. So it's by no means over for Black Lions, and I think that Sparx do need to try and up the tempo a little bit. Yes, they are getting advantages. Yes, they are starting to win these fights. Cyrox.
The Ragnarok flashing from the Ikara Stunt United coming in through, but Cyrox walks forward. Right, the process is now here, lands the taunt. Can he get enough damage onto the Ikara? It seems that the answer is yes. Black Lions get a kill.
Moment of hesitation will cost you the kill and cost you your life. Daikara, if you followed through on that, if you really believe you could have had the Cyrox down before the channel finished, unfortunately you pull back, you then go back in. That gives enough time for Apostle to get down and cut you through. Unfortunate there for Sparx' mid laner, and nice counterplay by Black Lion. We said that Apostle was kind of this unknown quantity we didn't know an awful lot about for a substitute top laner. It seems that he is more than capable of playing these tanks and supporting his team. Black Lions are trying to rotate up for this, but they already have some incredibly low members. I think the reinforcements are here just to shore up the tower and try and stop it going down. They're not particularly looking for a fight.
Yeah, it would be a bit questionable if Black Lion tried to go for the fight, especially that Sena just recalled, and you can see her struggling, not even completing the Essence Reaver or the full birds by 15 minutes, which, you know, not great. You are, if you're Black Lion, you're just looking to stop the bleeding, I think, right now. Like, you have some scaling, and I'm already seeing people in the Twitch chat blame us since, you know, Sparx, they don't necessarily fall off that hard in the late game. Like, yes, Lucian, Elise, personally, not great late game champions, but they will be able to make some work happen, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. We're not saying that post 25 minutes Sparx can't do anything, like just roll over and die. We're saying comparatively, like they've got an Elise, they've got a Lucian, and yes, while Elise and Olaf will both kind of fall off at the same kind of time, Lucian becomes increasingly difficult to play, and Elise still has options as a stun bot with the Cocoon, but that is pretty much what she becomes. Finnick using, I think, what we call a zoning ultimate there to try and get Xerox and Evil Yokai away, because once again, this Rift Tower is going to be fought for. The TP has been committed.
Yeah, and Black Lion are looking for the fight. Sparx falls to Ragnarok, already taken out by Finnick, who flashes in for the kill. No looking for the quickness into the backline, but there just simply is no damage yet on the side of Black Lion. Sena and Evil Yokai looking to get anything at all. But it's too little, it is too late. Sena able to get 1 kill, overall 2 for the side of Black Lion, but double for the Ikara and Sena. She's running the wrong way, taking 2 turret shots, and gonna get capped off by, well, either the Ikara or Finnick at one point.
But she's wasting a lot of time, and while Sena knows she's going to go down here, the more time she can waste... Oh, Daikara's going to pick it up, potentially. Okay, we'll use the ultimate as well.
Oh?
Really trying to buy a lot of time here. Gonna...
if she gets that, that's good.
Surely
Wait,
not.
no way. No damn... Oh, the
Oh!
tormented soul! It stops the recall.
Oh, Sena, that was so nearly fantastic. Unfortunately, the enemy respawns from their base, so you were putting yourself in a dangerous position there. Nice attempt. I mean, you were dead to rights anyway, so you wasted a hell of a lot of time. Unfortunately, the Rift Tower was picked up. Cyrox is likely going to go down here. The stand United from Shen, a little bit questionable.
Well, yeah, Sparx might go down, but he doesn't give up. The Dragon is lost. 1 kill picked up by Apostle. He's actually looking for the second one, but 1v5, there's only so much you can do.
Finnick once again. Ooh, good. Dark binding there. Those headshots. So much damage. This Storm Razor Caitlyn with the BF sword as well, really gonna start hitting hard against these squishy members like the Rakan. He only has a little bit of armor at the minute, but that could have been the difference between life and death, as Caitlyn is really starting to scale up. Desrim still maintaining this CS advantage. He's picked up 2 kills already. So this Caitlyn is in a very, very good place to go forward. And I like the kind of style we're seeing from Sparx in this game and the previous game. They're going for this double AD carry in the mid lane and the bot lane as well. And so far, you know, if you look at the scoreline from this time in the first game as well, both Desrim and Dekara were on about the same kind of scoreline, but both consistently doing well.
They are. And I think with Sparx moving forward, of course, if they win this game, which right now is looking likely, they could be looking to just repeat that against, you know, whoever they face, either NSG or Absolved. As, you know, a reminder for those who don't know, after the tomorrow's quarterfinal, NSG will get a choice of their opponent. So we don't really even know based on the seeding. But yeah, coming back to my point, Dekara, Desrim, the two carries that's for Sparx are now coming online after what, you know, in the middle of the season looked like a shaky point where they just couldn't find them.
And Sparx are definitely not afraid to move forward and take some of these fights as well. It was another criticism we'd thrown at this team a little bit. In some of their games, they looked like they were kind of just ceding pressure and not contesting fights for the sake of not contesting them. I believe it was the game against NSG in week 4 where this was like really highlighted. Was it week 3 against NSG? But yeah, it was kind of really highlighted there because at that point Sparx were one of our top teams who are like first or second on the clock. I think he's just going to be able to walk away from all this, but Apostles is coming in, guarding Hughes here as well.
Yeah, Apostles is gonna force the flash to come out from Desrim. Second Herald summoned in the middle lane, gonna take the inner tower away from Black Lion. As, no, actually, sort of out of position, has to use the Battle Dance, guarding you now. Overextended, Sparx looking to get insane, and picks up that kill. Evil Yokai over the wall, throws down to Miasma, Petrifying Gaze down as well. Desrim losing a lot of health, but there is no one to get in the damage.
Just managed to get himself away there. Cyrox was so low on the back end of that as well, but luckily Desrim didn't have the time to put down the ace in the hole. We're gonna... Lord just died. Don't know how that happened. I mean, Antero, you know, the spider catching... Is it trapdoor spiders that kill birds in Australia?
I honestly would not know.
I think it's either trapdoor or huntsman spiders. I'm not sure. They're both terrifying. But yeah, one of them eat birds, and Antero just giving us a bit of a demonstration. You can see Rakan there. He's just taking 5 minutes. I mean, not 30 seconds. He's okay. He's back up now. But yeah, Antero will pick up another kill for himself. And like we're saying, it was one of our concerns that we saw with Sparx a little bit, but they kind of walked away from a lot of fights in the mid-season. You know, they weren't really going from that much, and that certainly isn't the case here. They're playing aggressively, and while it will cost them at times here, a lot of the time it is to the benefit. You know, they are actually able to take these objectives with the composition they've got for themselves, with the leads they've built themselves. Ah, here it is. Okay, Antero. Oh, flash Q. Yeah,
I'll play buttons.
At least things. Who needs to land skill shots where you can flash Q them, eh?
Exactly, and yeah, just sort of adding to your point, I think if Sparx, like, their team fighting is strong. They just need people to play around in those team fights. If they keep playing like that, put Fennec on a tank, which at first I was skeptical of, but now when I see it all put together, I actually like it a lot. Get Dekara and Desrim to be your carries. Dekara can carry in the mid game, which he has shown now both of the games. Fennec can just frontline. That is a recipe for success if you're Sparx. If they can bring this game to the close, then next week they can hopefully show us even more.
Yeah, because I was... You know, I hadn't been impressed that much by Dekara so far coming up to these quarterfinals. I did think that of Sparx as a whole, he was perhaps the slightly weaker member. You know, he'd had a few shaky performances, but showcasing some fairly tricky champions to execute on. You know, Volution and the Kalista are both technical, they're both short-range AD carries.
Insane is just not having fun at all here. The calling comes out onto Sparx, and Fennec comes in on the pain train, misses everyone, but that shouldn't matter too much. Sparx supposed to flash away, flash follow through from Fennec. Stand United is going to be utilized. Sparx still staying alive. Nice taunt from Apostles, and here comes Evil Yokai. Have a look at Dekara on this side. Dodges away from the Petrifying Gaze. Double kill picked up by Antero. Another one going over to Desrim. Sparx get 3, and they're looking for the value.
5 members still standing there in perfect position to take this Baron. With 2 AD carries, they will simply shred through it. Lucian, he's going to move off to mid lane. He's going to get this wave pushing up nice and quickly. They want to start this siege as fast as possible because there's no way that Black Lion can contest this. Sparx know that they have the agency. The next few minutes is the game to lose. It's going to be them with their foot on the pedal. How many towers can they take?
Well, 23 minutes with so many kills on your mid-game carries, you have to assume that Sparx are at least looking to break into the base, and one more team fight, like the one we just saw, could potentially book them into the semi-finals already.
Certainly couldn't. Like we say, we don't know who their opponents would be exactly. It's NSG as our first seed that are going to get the chance to decide that, but I believe we're going to go into a replay. And we're starting off before Sayna even walks down into the mid lane, so a little bit of fast forward. You can see she thinks about it, and unfortunately caught in the middle. Black Lion thought they were collapsing onto Daikara. That wasn't the case. Cyrox Ragnaroks because he just simply has to get away. Finnick splits the fight, and although he doesn't get anyone, you can see Evil Yokai is off onto the side again, thinking that they have found the flank, thinking they have the collapse, but he doesn't find anyone with it. Daikara comes in from behind. He manages to get the damage down, and Tero once again rattling up out of the way, and it looks like such a clean fight for Sparx. Black Lion simply felt like they were on the back foot the entire way through that.
Now Sparx being up in the bot lane, looking to take down the inner tower, and there isn't anything or anyone to stop them at all. Evil Yokai finishes the second item now, still quite a while away from being that late game threat that Cassiopeia is known to be, but slowly but surely getting there. Sayna 1.5, once again, not great, but it is some progress being made by Sparx. The worry is it fast enough? And right now, the answer is no, as Sparx are pushing in.
With towers falling across the map, I believe we've seen the bottom and the top tier 2 have gone, and now the siege has started. Finnick and Daikara have more than enough damage to cut through this. Finnick just doesn't care about Sayna right now, can't really touch him at all. Daikara has to be careful because, you know, Lucian is a bit shorter range, but Desrin, meanwhile, on the bottom side is doing exactly the same thing. They're just trying to play with these waves, trying to keep the pressure on as much as possible, split Black Lion apart, and make them choose which lane they're going to commit to.
Bot lane hip tower already broken, top lane shortly follows. Finnick looking to go in as Black Lion, they can't defend bot lane. Looks like they might just give it up. Sayna pulls the feathers back in, Lodge looking for the engage. The car is going to be ignited. Stun United onto Lodge, shutdown picked up by Sayna as the first casualty of the fight. However, bot lane inhibitor already taken. Mid lane inhib tower is going to be under siege. Black Lion get a kill, but at what cost?
It was a nice pick, a nice engage, but all the time that was bought in it was spent by Sparx taking the inhibitor. Ultimately, the objective is the Nexus, the objective is the base, and you can get as many kills as you want on the defense. If you are still losing structures, you are losing out, because there are 3 members here, 4 when Finnick joins, that are still more than capable of continuing this siege. And broken inhib in the bot side, open inhib on the top side, half health tower in the mid. That's going to be a nice push. Sparx can back away happy.
Yeah, that is a Baron buff well spent, 11,000 gold in the lead, and let's be honest, this looks nigh insurmountable for Black Lion.
It is, but you've got to remember, this is the point of the game where we would expect the tempo to start shifting towards them. Yes, Lucian is still strong right now, but slowly from this point onward, Evil Yokai's Cassiopeia should be getting stronger than the Lucian. Sayna should be getting, well, scaling up fairly evenly with the Caitlyn, to be honest, but able to do a lot of work in team fights with the CC she can put down. And that is going to be the difference. It will be whether Black Lion can hold on long enough to make these small differences exasperate into something bigger. They need a big team fight. They need a big objective to go their way to be able to allow it back onto the map. I don't think in the past 10 minutes we've seen Black Lion pushed past the midpoint of Summoner's Rift. It has been all under Sparx's control. And Black Lions need to try and make some moves to regain this.
Alright, now they are waiting in the jungle, waiting for a mistake to come out, and you mentioned the Cloud Soul early on. I said that it's looking unlikely. Well, I probably am going to stand corrected. That's the third one up in 40 seconds. Sparx complete control, and already the third Cloud Drake for Lucian and Caitlyn, Morgana, really anyone apart from that Elise is going to do so much good work.
And all of the extra cooldown that it's bringing onto these ults is a big thing as well. If you start to see Sion ulting twice...
Oh no, that's a pick on too low. Just barely gets out. Commits the stand United, but it is a pick prevented by Black Lion.
It's a pick prevented, but again, a lot of, a very important tool used there. You kind of want it to be saving that stand United for when Law's going in or when Cyrox is going in. Not simply to get him out when he's caught in the mid side, but a good cocoon by Entero. Commits the ultimates from Desrim and Daikara as well. So, there were tools by Sparx that were blown there that they now won't have available to them. But you're going to have to start mounting a defense. Finnick here is going to be fighting for free. No.
There's no way that Black Lion are killing him.
You're gonna struggle. You are gonna severely struggle to say, oh, Desrim, those headshots are, oh, evil yokai, you're in trouble there, buddy.
Oh, nice petrifying gaze. It's actually the fancy footwork from yokai makes it a 1-for-1. Now the Featherstone coming out from Sena. Desrim is gonna go goal and pops this stopwatch. Is it enough though? Stuck in the play. Shutdown picked up by Silence. Black Lion. Nice fight again.
They
need to keep it up.
Yeah, they need to be capitalizing on these. The little bits of misexecution from Sparx, where they do step too far forward, where they are out of position. Black Lion need to be jumping all over that, because every bit of goal they can get right now is going to be huge, because Finnick just will not die. He's single-handedly zoning away the team.
Another triple knockup. Look at all the low health bars. Sena's down. Double kill for the Ikara. Evil Yokai up in 6 seconds. Can Black Lion hold on for any longer? Mid lane, inhibitor turret is already going to be gone. The pulse is looking to run away as you're running away from something that's inevitable, and that's just never going to work. The Ikara comes in, killing speed for that man on the Lucian. All inhibitors exposed. Evil Yokai is back up. Sparx are not going to push for the finish.
Looks like we're going to be backing away to the Baron instead. Antera has just come back up and spawned. The rest of Sparx will be spawning or resetting as well, so there's no reason why they can't just walk away, clear out all of this jungle on the way over, let the minion waves push in, and go for this Baron. They know that they have a 10k gold advantage over Black Lion at the minute. They can push this Baron down, and it is going to drop so quickly. Guarding you is just on the side, trying to stop Cyrox getting in. He's going to have to walk away because he knows he's been spotted. He knows any attempts at stealing this will be futile. The second Baron of the game goes over to Sparx. They broke the base before. Can they put it to ruins now?
That's what you're hoping for if you're Sparx. It's 30 minutes. You're still on in the strong position. Every minute, though, is an unnecessary gamble that you're taking. Black Lion, they have resorted to death brushes. We'll see if it works. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, we'll have to see if it will indeed. But if it's Finnick that face checks this, you bang out of luck. Like, but the problem with staying in the jungle in the death bush here is there's no reason for Sparx to be in the jungle. Like, they can just run straight down the base and start taking your inhibitors. They are exposed. There's no towers to stop them right now. And with the waves available, with this front-to-back 5-man team fight, once again, Sparx are going to look to close off the game. Finnick, I'm expecting any second the train, the Sion choo-choo, it's going to be coming down, and it's going to be barreling towards Sena.
Second inhib taken, and Sparx, they're just not stopping. They have no reason to risk any team fight at all. They still have got the pressure, they have got the Baron buff. Now 2 inhibs, looking to make it the third one. But Black Lion will fight their hearts out. Law is going to go for the engage. Finds the charm only onto Finnick. Cyros already forced out. And look at the pulses. He's nearly taken out. Daikara goes on a rampage. Sena looking to pull the Finnick's back in. But it's a clean sweep for Sparx in the base. Only one casualty, let me correct myself, as they are going to take the second win at 31 minutes, win the quarterfinal against Black Lion, and move on to the Square 1 semi-finals.
And ultimately on the day, Black Lion were not able to find success. They tried the unorthodox team comp for the first game. They went for something more standard in the second game, and neither of them hit the ground running. Evil Yokai was not showing his high highs today. He didn't manage to find his usual level of form, and unfortunately, the Sparx just ran them over. Finnick putting in huge duty up on this top side map on tank. They went for the standard front to back. They went for this strange double AD comp, and it worked both games running.
Yeah, it definitely did this time. They got it through the early game as well, and that is a showing from Sparx that I like more, because last time it was very one-dimensional. Get early game lead, probably through Finnick, get Desrim scaling. Now you can play through 2 lanes, you can play through Deikara, you can play through Desrim. Finnick will always do his thing in the top lane, although that depends, because we actually didn't see Finnick being contested. We actually didn't see Sign get contested in a side lane, which is a big point I think you have to watch out in the semifinals, is what happens when someone strikes at Finnick. But other than that, Sparx looks solid.
They certainly do, and if you're looking at these damage graphs, Finnick up on tank duty on the top lane, he did 3k more damage than Evil Yokai, and while I think it's fair to say that Cassio is not a familiar pick, not a comfort pick for Evil Yokai, these are still damage graphs that you have to respect, that you have to be cognizant of, because we talked about this triple threat for the side of Sparx, how they could play through every single lane, and it was just which they decided to prioritize on. Finnick still showing that even when he's on a tank, when he's not on the traditional carry role, he is still able to step up, and he will still win Sparx games.
And, commiserations to Black Lion. They go out in the quarterfinals. I'm not going to say it was a great showing, but I think against a team like Sparx that you did go 0-2 in the regular season too, and neither of these games were pretty. I think you can be moderately content with how these games went.
Yeah, and they've definitely shown good form throughout the regular split. We have seen some fantastic games from Black Lion. I think every single member on their roster has stepped up and had signature games where you can go, yes, that was fantastic. You had such a good performance. That is the kind of play we need to see. Unfortunately, it just didn't all seem to come together often enough for the team to really find their success and go through in these quarterfinals. We do wish them the best of luck in the other avenues of success. And I, for one, I'm definitely hoping we'll see them again in SQ1, because pulling out the unorthodox picks, making them work the way they have done, and still being willing to play the standard team comp fighting style when their backs are against the wall. I think it shows a lot of resolve from the team, and I think they have a hell of a lot of promise. They just need to hit those high highs together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Black Lion as an org, I think they definitely will be in squad in summer split unless something happens. But hopefully, maybe the East players as well, and just see them grow throughout another split would be something else. But Sparx, of course, congratulations. We'll see them play next week. But I think we've kind of taken our time with this post game. We'll now throw it over to a break before, I believe, CJ. We will be interviewing someone from Sparx.
just taking down Black Lions in our first quarterfinal of the split. I have with me Sparx and Tero, the jungler in both games. That was a really, really dominant performance, honestly. Some really strong early games in both those series.
Yes, I agree. We finally adapted our game plans a bit, and we've moved away from the whole give everything early game thing, and I'm very happy with that.
Yeah, you mentioned in I think our last interview that you were looking to shift that playstyle towards being more proactive throughout the game, and that seems to be really paying dividends here.
Yes, it's paying off hugely, and to be honest, we haven't really done it for a crazy long time yet. There's been a couple of scrimworks only, and I think personally, at least for me, and I also think for the team, it's already working a lot better than the previous style we played.
Absolutely, and you looked really, really strong today. If we just turn to that specifically to game one, the Kalista pick was definitely a very interesting one. Was the plan always to give it to Dekara in the mid lane, or were you looking to secure that power pick and just flex it around, maybe give it to Finnick or even to bot lane?
Not necessarily. It wasn't set on any lane specifically, but we did know we were gonna plan to play around bot side early.
Mhm.
And Kalista is a really good one for that, but it also opens up to people going, oh, it's Kalista bot lane, picking something blind, and then we can counter it and flex it around. It really wasn't clear where it was going yet, but we did have the options of it going top or mid in mind.
Yeah, it did seem like they were trying to chase it around the map with the Poppy that they picked for their top laner and then swap the Poppy into the mid lane to try and deal with it. But luckily, you guys, Dekara, dealt with that pretty well, it seemed.
Yeah, I think that was pretty favorable for us actually. Like,
Yeah.
I was initially going like, well, I can just level 3 bot lane and have fucked, but then they locked the Talia Panther, and I was like, maybe I do need to
Oh,
invest
dear.
some time into protecting this Kalista. And then for some reason they decided to send the Poppy into it. It was kind of convenient. Like, it doesn't really look like a terribly great matchup on paper because she has that whole blocking the dash thing going, but it's a lot better than Pantheon Talia into the Kalista.
Yeah, and
Plus,
yeah, exactly. That lane did go very well for you. And you're talking about playing around bot lane. That did seem like a strong strategy here with guarding you coming in today with a pair of Morgana games and looked so strong, honestly. How much practice did you get with them before this series? And are we going to be seeing a bit more of them as the playoffs continue?
Not crazy amounts, but I think apart from me, every single one on our team has played with Guardian before, and I know that Desram and Guardian have duoed probably triple-digit amount of games, so
Oh,
they're up there, and yeah, it worked perfectly. Like, props to Guardian, it fit in like within a couple of games. I think it took us 2 or 3 games, and we instantly got everything going. It's really, really good.
yeah, for sure. They looked really dominant as usual in that bottom lane. So before we look forward to the semifinals, I want to cast an eye back to the regular season first. You guys had a roller coaster of a second half of the season. You know, you're beating NSG one week and then you're losing to Core Dynamic the next. Talk to me a little bit about what the cause was for that and how the team tried to solve those problems.
I think we had a lot of like internal issues, which was again a lot of communication, and I think our style was very weird. We had our very own problems, and that led to us, I think, being a pretty decent team, like not necessarily good, but at the same time we can lose to literally anyone. Like, I think I've said that to friends before, and I think it held true in some of the matches we showed. We currently, I think, are better than that, and it won't happen anymore. But throughout the whole split, we were decent-ish. But if something goes wrong, we will lose to anyone.
Yes, and we did see that come true a couple of times. But as you say, in this series today, you looked very, very strong throughout both games. Took an easy 2-0 there. So looking forward to that semi-final matchup, which will be the winner of Split Raiders versus Lions Creed, which goes down tomorrow. This is the 3rd seed Split Raiders going against 6th seed Lions Creed. How much of a chance do you think Lions Creed have to pull off an upset tomorrow?
I have no idea. I don't know. I can't think of a single player out of any of these liners by heart. I would have to look at the roster sheet and probably watch the games. So I don't think my guess is really valuable here.
Sure. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter to you guys because you still got to beat them to make the finals anyway, right?
Yeah, I mean, after the game is decided, we will probably look at the games and go like, what are these guys playing?
Yeah.
But currently, as it's undetermined who we're playing against, I don't think anyone on our team, and maybe I'm doing someone, I'm being unjust to someone here, but I don't think anyone has really done prep blindly for both of these teams.
Sure. Well, I guess whatever prep you guys do get around to, hopefully it will be enough, and we'll see you next weekend in that semi-final. Of course, tomorrow it is that second quarterfinal matchup. So thank you, Sparx and Terror, for joining me for this interview once again. You're always very talkative in these interviews. I love it. It's my favorite person to interview, I have to say. So
Yeah, we did it.
yeah, he's #1 ranked interviewee, Sparx and Terror. He's top of that tier list. Awaken needs to make an extra column on his tier lists for interviewees, and we'll put Antero in the S tier. Okay, so that's going to be us for today. Thank you all for tuning in, and please tune in tomorrow, same time. Hopefully, we will be starting on time, as we did have to work through some technical issues. But as you saw, and as the casters talked about before, we are trying to push the limits of the production for you guys, and we'll be back better and stronger tomorrow on time for the second quarterfinal. That will be Lions Creed versus Split Raiders. I've been CJ, joined by Antero. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you very soon.
See you.